The Carolina Hurricanes continue their road trip tonight out in Southern California to take on the Anaheim Ducks and look to get their fifth straight win. Find out how they can do that in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Tuesday afternoon. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96 and subscribe to the show on YouTube. And in today's episode, we will be previewing tonight's matchup against the Anaheim Ducks. It is another edition of Hurricanes After Dark, as tonight's game is at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's going to be a late one, folks, but it's going to be a fun one for sure. Again, the Hurricanes are looking to get their fifth straight win after having dropped five straight. They're looking to bounce back, and so far they have been doing exactly that. The team has been, as a whole, looking a lot better. They have momentum on their side now, which is great. Of course, the power play is slowly improving. We talked about that yesterday. While it is still ranked towards the bottom of the league, it has improved percentage wise and it is slowly getting there, which it's still progress and we'll take it. And the offense is showing signs of life as well, because you remember back during that stretch of losing games, the offense did not look good and they could not get anything going, but that hasn't been the case as of late. And one thing that can help continue to breathe life back into that offense, he just came back the other night against LA, is that of Teuvo Teravainen being back in the fold now after coming back from injury. And that can really help the Hurricanes. And this could be a good game tonight to get him some confidence. Not saying he's lacking anything at all, but like, all right, I'm back. I'm ready to go. I haven't missed a step. And this could be a good game to do that, because the Ducks aren't a great team, and they're in last place, and it's for lack of a better good reason. They haven't been good this year. And this could be a good game for Teuvo to get some legs under him, as well as the power play continuing to build confidence, because the Anaheim penalty killing is not great. It is ranked towards the bottom of the league. And actually, their penalty killing is ranked last in the league, and their power play is ranked 30th in the league. So this could be a very good game for the Hurricanes special teams to get some confidence under them. And like, again, we talked about the power play gaining some momentum. Hey, this is a good game for exactly that. Things have been going well. You got momentum on your side. You're going against a not so great opponent. Let's take advantage of that. And I've said that they need to be working on power plays in practice. We never got to hear what came out of practice yesterday. And obviously, it's almost noon here on the East Coast, still pretty early in the morning out there on the West Coast. So, they haven't practiced yet. Maybe they're not even up. I don't really know. But, it is what it is there. But, the Hurricanes, this is a good game for their special teams, and one where they can really get things going, I think. And, a lot of the issues that we've been complaining about here, this can be an opportunity for them to, at least for one night, kind of put them to bed a little bit. We'll see how things shake out in the next game after this one against New York. But at the end of the day, I think this can be a good building block game for the team. And, one thing that I think the Hurricanes can and should continue to do is ride the hot set of hands that you got in goal right now. And that is Pyotr Kochetkov. He is on fire this season so far. And I say let him keep playing. He's a young guy, and he doesn't have the injury history of Antti Ranta, or while there's no timetable for his return, Frederick Anderson. So I say continue to just let Piotr play. I think this could be a good game for him. He's obviously not lacking in confidence, but continue to just build him up. He's the hot set of hands right now. It's not like you're in a back to back. You got big gaps in between this game and the previous one against LA, and big gaps in between this one and your next game against the Islanders. So I think the Hurricanes should definitely just continue to let Piotr go tonight, and we'll talk more about that in the lineup predictions for tonight. But you know, not only does he have things going right for him, and Antti Ranta does too, but Piotr has just really stood out as being like, holy crap, this kid has got it. And it's not just him. Again, Seth Jarvis on a 5-game point streak, Martin Necas 5-game point streak. Brett Pesce has gotten 5 points in his last 5 games. Andrei Svechnikov, 7 points in his last 7 games. An issue that we had in that stretch where the Hurricanes just couldn't get anything going. That 5-game losing streak, and even before then, problem we had was too many passengers. It was always falling to these couple guys to get it done, and now you're starting to see it spread out a bit more. And I think that's going to be big for carrying the team, not only in this game against Anaheim, but the next one against the Islanders and all the games throughout the regular season and then the playoffs. You got to spread it around, and that is something that they're getting better at now. Again, I mentioned those streaks and those point totals in their previous games, but you look to the last game against LA. You had Brady Shea showing up on the scoreboard. It's not, and of course, you did have Sebastian Aho. You did have Andrei Svechnikov. You got the people that you expect to show up on there, which is obviously great. I mean, that's what you pay them to do. But again, Brett Pesce 5 in his last 5. He's not a points guy, and he's racking up points as well. Jordan Martinook, he's got points in back-to-back games. He's coming off that hat trick against St. Louis. He's the guy. No, you don't expect him to be racking up a bunch of points, but that's what he's doing right now. And that's something that the Hurricanes really need to continue to take advantage of and spread the love around with the puck. And going into a game like this against Anaheim tonight, this can be a really big game for exactly that. Get Calvin DeHaan out there, get Jalen Chatfield, some of these guys that don't really see much in terms of points. This can really be a game where you see them showing up on the score sheet. Paul Stastny as well, Jack Drury, Stefan Nazin. He's showed up on points here a bit, but this can be one your depth guys get some confidence under them and rack up some points, and then again your top guys, the guys that you pay to score the points, them doing the same as well. But it's not all you know sunshine and rainbows with this game. This isn't a guaranteed win. This is can very much be a trap game for the Hurricanes, and we'll talk about how this could be a trap game for the Hurricanes right after this. At Locked On Hurricanes, we believe home should be where you and your family feel the safest, especially over the holidays. This season, give yourself and your family the gift of peace and protection with the #1 rated home security system, SimpliSafe. And right now, SimpliSafe is offering Locked On Hurricanes listeners 40% off a new security system. But don't put this off, folks. SimpliSafe was named the best home security system of 2022 by US News and World Report for a third year in a row. In an emergency, 24/7 professional monitoring agents use Fast Protect technology exclusively from SimpliSafe to capture critical evidence and verify that the threat is real. So you get higher priority police response. SimpliSafe is whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door. HD security cameras for inside and out with smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when the threat is real, and even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. 24/7 professional monitoring service costs less than $1 a day. That's less than half of the price of traditional home security systems. With the top rated SimpliSafe app, stay in complete control of your system, arm or disarm, unlock for a guest, access your cameras, or adjust system settings anytime, anywhere. So don't miss your chance to save big on my favorite security system. Get 40% off at any new system at simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl today. That's simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Now, this game against Anaheim could very much be a trap game. And, the Hurricanes, they got momentum on their side. And they've won four straight. They're really going. And they've also earned points in each of their last 7 road games, win or loss. And so that's something that this should be a win. This absolutely should be a win, but that is where the problem lies. It should be a win, and we've seen it before with the Hurricanes, and with other teams in the NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. These games that should be wins don't always end up being wins. And I mentioned how bad the Anaheim power or special teams is, but you do have two guys there, very young, very talented guys in Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras. You gotta watch out for those guys, and I very much expect them to end up on the score sheet tonight for the Ducks, and they're gonna give a heck of a fight. Those two guys, we'll see how the rest of the Ducks lineup shakes out. But those two guys, they're leading their team in points. Terry with 26, Zegras with 22. These guys are really young, and they can really do some damage for the Ducks. So we'll see how that shakes out tonight. But the Ducks do have history on their side. Where they have won 7 of the last 10 games against the Hurricanes dating back to the 2016-2017 season. Obviously, last season, the Hurricanes, were able to get wins in both of the games against the Ducks. This isn't, the 16-17 Hurricanes, 17-18. This isn't that team anymore. So, you know, but the Hurricanes, don't sleepwalk through this game. These issues that we have talked about in the past of not playing the full 60 minutes, taking the foot off the gas whenever you get comfortable, slow starts, we've all heard it, this is 4th season covering the team. We've hit every beat we possibly could. And let's not have that tonight, because this can definitely be a trap game. And I think the Ducks realize that the Hurricanes, they're a team that should be in Stanley Cup conversation, and the Ducks are in the conversation for the first overall pick. So, this should be an easy win for the Hurricanes, but the Ducks aren't going to go down without a fight. And I think that the Hurricanes, they need to be on their A game tonight, because Ducks aren't the best team, but they're still an NHL team with NHL talent, and anything can happen on any given night. So I think that the Hurricanes should be mindful of all of that. Be mindful of, this team with nothing to lose. They're going to go out there and do what they got to do. And, you know, I think that, the Hurricanes, we talked about it yesterday, having these, long breaks in between games, from LA to tonight and then tonight to the New York Islanders could be, helpful and also hurtful. You had, such a long break. That's obviously plenty of time to rest up, do what you got to do, which is really good, decompress from that last game. But you had a bit of a break, and that could, kind of halt some momentum that you had going, and we'll see how that affects the Hurricanes tonight. I don't think it'll be, a very big factor in this game, but I do think it's something you kind of gotta talk about is, how they had such a break. Does it affect them at all? I don't think so, but it is something to consider with this game. I also think, the Hurricanes, they need to trying to think of how to word this. Show up. I've hinted at, I've talked about it already of them not playing full 60, slow starts, and all that. Again, this is a trap game for sure. They need to show up and they need to prove why, they are supposed to be in the Stanley Cup conversation. And they need to, yeah, obviously it won't be fun for Ducks fans or, JD from Locked On Ducks. They need to beat the brakes off the Ducks. They do. This is a game where they are supposed to do that. This should not be a close game. And they don't need to sleepwalk through this or anything like that. This is a game they need to win in dominant fashion. Like I said, I do expect, Zegras, Terry, maybe some other guys to show up on the score sheet for Anaheim. I mean, it could be a shutout. Any game could be a shutout for any team. But, I think that, Terry and Zegras, they're guys that are probably going to end up on the score sheet for the Ducks tonight. Whether it be a goal, assist, whatever, they're going to show up, and I'm confident in that. Especially with kind of how the Hurricanes defense can be sometimes, especially this season. So expect that, but the Hurricanes need to win convincingly, and the Ducks are a team that has allowed over 4 goals a game on average. And with the way the Hurricanes get their shots on goal, last time I looked, they were 3rd in the league for average shots on goal. And this is a game where the Hurricanes need to take advantage of that. You take 35 plus shots a game, you better end up with several goals tonight. But we'll see what happens tonight, because it's one thing, I'm saying, all this, that the Hurricanes need to do that, and they need to do this, they need to do that. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. Again, it's still super early, over there on the West Coast. We're all gonna be, a lot of folks are gonna be drinking their coffee to watch this game. So we'll see what happens with this one. But the Hurricanes, they have momentum on their side, and I think that's big. But we do have to discuss the keys to the game and the lineup for tonight's game, and we'll do that right after this. All right, folks, it's time to dive into the keys of the game. And I have touched on some of this stuff already, so I think that big thing, we just talked about it a bunch. Don't fall for the trap tonight, and be on their A game. You saw how dominant they looked against LA for the most part. Maybe up until the third period, penalty trouble. LA got some momentum, but as a whole, they were pretty dominant over LA. That's all they need to be here against Anaheim tonight. And I think that playmaking it's going to be big tonight. Tavo Teravainen coming back. I think that that's going to help a lot. With creating plays, creating goals, creating more high danger chances. They've been pretty good at creating that stuff as a whole. But I want to see them follow through on these plays. And I think Tavo Teravainen, getting back in here, this is a good game. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, for him to build some confidence coming off of injury. I think this could be a good game for him. Again, it's not going to be a cakewalk or anything like that. I don't want you guys to think that this is a guaranteed win, because nothing in the NHL is guaranteed. But good plays. Do that. And strong special teams is also going to be big. We talked about that earlier, of how poor Anaheim's are, with their PK being last in the NHL, their power play being 30th in the NHL. Let's take advantage of that. Our PK, while not to the heights and level it was last year, still can be pretty darn dangerous. Let's see that tonight. Let's see just how deadly RPK can be. Historically, especially under Rod Brind'amour, it has been very, very deadly. Let's see that continue tonight. Let's not give them anything. Power play, and still, in terms of rankings and percentage, not great, not good at all. Only slightly better than Anaheim, to be honest. But it has been gaining momentum, and it has been slowly improving. You're going against an easy opponent tonight, in terms of your opposition on the man advantage. But, let's see them, have some strong showing out there. That's going to be really important. But those are the big keys for me. Strong special teams. I want to see some good playmaking from Tavo Teravainen, and don't fall for the trap. But time to talk about projected lineup. Obviously, it's a little afternoon here in Raleigh, so we don't have an official projected lineup tonight, but I do have my predictions of what we can see out there on the ice tonight. So for the first line, I have Seth Jarvis, Sebastian Aho, and Tavo Teravainen. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I think the only thing that could possibly change there would be this right here of Svech, Kotkaniemi, and Natchez. You can maybe see Tavo and Natchez switch out, but ultimately I don't think that will be the case. Third line is obviously going to stay the same, of Martinook, Stahl, and Fost. That's not going to change at all this season, barring injury. So, that's really ain't got nothing to say about that. Fourth line is where we could see some interesting, combinations there. I think it'll be Drury, Stastny, and Nazen, with Stepan being the odd man out. And I say that because Nazen, obviously Turbo's being back, Nazen is going to get bumped down. Plain and simple, it's going to happen. But as a whole, he's been a guy that has been playing pretty high in the lineup. Rod Brind'amour seems to be really high on him, so I don't see him sitting. Same with Stastny. While I think it probably should be the other way around, of Stastny sits, Stepan plays. You haven't really heard much out of either of them. And I feel that they've rolled with Stastny more, so that's why I'm saying they're gonna just base it on the way they've shook out their lineups in the past this season. Stepan seems to be the odd man out, and Jack Drury, another guy, it's coming up from Chicago. I don't see why they would say him, but it is what it is there. I think that's what it'll be. I mean, I would be fine if Stepan was in the lineup and another one of those guys on that fourth line ended up sitting, mainly Paul Stastny. I think Drury and Nazen, they can stay in the lineup. It's really going to be between Stastny and Stepan, but recent history, it'll be a step that ends up sitting tonight. On the blue line, obviously, first two pairings, same as always. Slavin Burns, Shea Pesci. We're not really going to see any change there, so we really don't have anything to add. uh, fourth, or not fourth, Jesus. Third pairing, Dahan and Chatfield. I don't know what's the deal with Dylan Coughlin is of why they just don't play him. You know, I mean, we obviously know that whenever he has played, he hasn't looked really good. So that's probably why. But you know, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing him the way they did Ethan Bear. Okay, we're probably not going to be playing you. Let's ship you off for some assets. You know, wouldn't surprise me. He's not getting any playing time at all. So, it is what it is with Coughlin. But, maybe they're keeping him around because of how injury prone Calvin DeHaan can be at times. So, it wouldn't surprise me if Coughlin slotted in just so they're not, risking injury on DeHaan. But again, we just haven't seen Dylan Coughlin at all. It's always been Calvin DeHaan and Jalen Chadwood. It's just what it is. And I think that's what it's going to be tonight. In goal, as I mentioned earlier, I think it'll be Pyotr Kochetkov. He's been the hot set of hands as of late. I don't see any reason why you should change it out. So we'll see what happens in terms of that. Auntie Ronta, you couldn't go wrong with putting Ronta in, so in that way, I think you're set either way in goal, but Piotr, he has been so hot as of late. Why would you want to stop that momentum? He's got things going great. Keep playing him. Ride that hot set of hands. And ultimately, I think that's probably what Rod will do. I think they kind of want to use Piotr a bit sparing, or Ronta, excuse me, a bit sparingly, because of his injury history. I do think he probably will see some more playing time here soon. I think that you know maybe the next game you see him, maybe against New York, could very well be wrong there as well. Could see Piotr continue to go, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. In looking at the media notes for this, in terms of the injuries, all three guys, or well, we kind of know when Pat Schrader will be back, but the other two, Andre Kasha and Frederick Anderson, there is no timetable on the return. So I do think they should be cautious with their goaltending of Piotr and Ranta. You don't want to play one of them too much and risk them getting hurt and then having to call up yet another goalie. Let's not have that happen. But Piotr, he's the hot set of hands right now. Let him keep playing. I don't see anything wrong with it, but that's what I'm thankful for tonight. It's obviously going to be another late one. Puck drop is at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. So make sure you guys have your coffee, your energy drinks, whatever you need, and enjoy the game tonight. So in the meantime, make sure you are following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow where we recap this game against the Anaheim Ducks. Let's hope it's a win and let's go Canes.